Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited you're here today because we're diving into one of the most requested topics from you all, the secret to speaking fluent English. Many learners can understand English really well, but struggle when it comes to speaking with confidence and fluency. So today, I'm going to reveal some powerful strategies to help you speak English more fluently so you can finally take your speaking skills to the next level. Let's get started. So what's the secret to speaking fluent English? Is it just about learning more vocabulary? Is it about perfecting your grammar? Well, yes, vocabulary and grammar are important, but the real secret to fluency is practice and consistency. You see, fluency is not about being perfect. It's about comfortably expressing yourself without having to think too much. It's about using the language in real situations with ease. So if you want to speak English fluently, you have to practice speaking regularly and put yourself in situations where you're actively using the language. Let's break it down. The first key to speaking fluent English is speaking regularly. You can read books, watch movies, or listen to podcasts all day long, but none of that will make you fluent if you don't practice speaking. And I don't mean just talking to yourself in the mirror for 5 minutes once in a while. I'm talking about real conversations, talking with people who speak English, whether it's native speakers or other learners. The more you speak, the more natural and automatic it becomes. Fluency is about getting used to expressing your ideas in English without overthinking, and you can only do that by speaking often. So, if you're not speaking regularly yet, start today. Make it a goal to speak for 10 minutes every day, whether it's with a language partner, a tutor, or even just practicing with your smartphone. The second secret is thinking in English. When you're learning a language, it's easy to fall into the trap of translating in your head. You think in your native language and then try to convert it into English. But this can slow down your speech and make it harder to express your ideas quickly. To speak fluently, you need to train your brain to think in English. Start by practicing thinking in English during your daily activity. For example, when you're walking down the street, describe things in your mind in English. The sky is blue today, or I'm heading to the store to buy some fruit. The more you think in English, the faster you'll be able to speak, because you won't have to translate everything. You'll just have the right words and expressions ready when you need them. Now, let's talk about listening and speaking together. A lot of learners struggle with fluency because they don't practice listening to English at the same time they're speaking. You see, listening is key to fluency because it trains you to understand how English sounds in real life, how words are connected, how native speakers stress certain words, and how the rhythm of the language flows. Shadowing is a powerful technique to improve both listening and speaking. Shadowing means you listen to a native speaker through a podcast, a video, or a movie, and try to repeat exactly what they say as quickly and accurately as possible. This will help you improve your pronunciation, intonation, and speaking speed. Plus, it's a fun way to feel like you're speaking naturally, just like a native. Speaking of pronunciation and intonation, let's talk about how important it is to sound natural. Fluent speakers don't just speak quickly, they speak with the correct rhythm and intonation. This means emphasizing certain words in a sentence, using the right pitch, and making your speech sound more like a natural flow rather than a list of words. To improve your pronunciation and intonation, try mimicking the way native speakers talk. Listen closely to how they pronounce words, and notice how they stress certain parts of sentences. For example, in the sentence, "I can't believe it," the word "believe" is stressed. When you're speaking, try to sound more dynamic by using natural pauses and adjusting your pitch. Another great tip is to focus on learning phrases instead of isolated words. In everyday conversations, people rarely speak in isolated words. They speak in chunks of phrases. For example, instead of learning just the word good, learn the phrase, I'm doing good, or that's a good idea. This will help you speak more naturally and fluently, and you won't have to stop and think for too long about what word to use next. It's also helpful to learn common collocations, words that often go together, such as make a decision, have a conversation, or take a break. When you're speaking, you can pull these common phrases from memory instead of having to create sentences word by word. But let's be real. Speaking fluently doesn't happen overnight. You have to be patient with yourself. One of the most important parts of fluency is being comfortable making mistakes. Fluent speakers make mistakes all the time. They don't stop speaking because of a little error. They keep going, learning from the mistakes and improving. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Embrace them. Each mistake is a learning opportunity. And the more you practice, the fewer mistakes you'll make. If you're always trying to speak perfectly, you'll never reach fluency because you'll be too afraid to speak in the first place. Lastly, let's talk about motivation. The secret to speaking fluent English is consistent, dedicated practice. And in order to keep that momentum going, you need to stay motivated. Set small, achievable goals for your speaking practice. For example, you could aim to hold a 5-minute conversation every day or learn 20 new phrases every week. Celebrate your progress no matter how small it may seem. Every time you have a conversation in English, even if it's just a simple one, celebrate the fact that you're improving. One great way to stay motivated is to connect English to your passions. If you love sports, start listening to English podcasts about sports or watch games in English. If you're into movies, watch them in English. The more you tie English to things you enjoy, the easier it will be to stay motivated and continue practicing. To wrap it up, here are the secrets to speaking fluent English. Speak regularly. Don't just study, practice speaking every day. Think in English to reduce translation time and speak faster. Use listening and speaking together, shadow native speakers to improve fluency. Work on pronunciation and intonation to sound more natural. Learn phrases and collocations instead of isolated words. Don't fear making mistakes, they're part of the learning process. Stay motivated by setting small goals and connecting English to your interests. Your challenge for today is to speak for 10 minutes in English about something that interests you. It could be anything, your favorite hobby, a recent experience, or even a book or movie you like. Remember, fluency comes from consistent practice. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you feel inspired to start practicing more regularly. In the next episode, we'll dive into some fun ways to keep improving your English skills. Until then, keep speaking, keep practicing, and most importantly, enjoy the process. Welcome back to part 2 of our podcast on the secret to speaking fluent English. In the first part, we covered the importance of regular speaking practice, thinking in English, and using active listening techniques like shadowing. But now we're going to dive deeper into advanced strategies and key habits that will take your speaking skills to the next level. Ready to speak more fluently? Let's get started. One thing we often forget when trying to speak fluently is that language is about rhythm and flow. When you're speaking English, it's not just about the words, it's about how you say them. That's why intonation and rhythm are so important. To sound fluent, you need to practice how to speak smoothly and with the right emphasis. Intonation is the rise and fall of your voice when speaking, while rhythm refers to the timing of the words in a sentence. For example, English speakers often stress certain words in a sentence to convey meaning. For instance, in the sentence, I didn't say you stole the money, if you stress the word stole, it changes the meaning of the sentence. To practice this, try listening to native speakers and mimicking their tone and rhythm. Pay attention to how they stress certain words and the pace at which they speak. Shadowing works great for this. Repeat what they say while focusing on how they speak, not just the words. Over time, this will help you sound more natural and fluent when you speak. Another important point is vocabulary expansion. If you want to speak fluently, you need to have a broad vocabulary. But here's the secret. It's not about memorizing a long list of words. It's about learning how to use words and phrases naturally in conversations. Collocations are groups of words that often go together, and mastering them can make a huge difference in your fluency. For example, we don't say, make a photo, we say, take a photo. We don't say big hunger, we say hungry. By learning common collocations, you'll sound more natural and less like you're translating from your native language. So, instead of memorizing single words, focus on learning whole phrases and common expressions that you can use in everyday conversations. A good way to practice this is by keeping a phrase book. Write down common expressions you come across and try to use them in your speaking practice. Let's talk about fluency and thinking faster. One of the challenges learners face when speaking is the delay between thinking and speaking. Often, this happens because we're trying to translate everything into English or searching for the right word. The secret to fluency is training your brain to think directly in English. This will help you speak faster and more confidently. A great way to train your brain is by practicing speed speaking. Pick a topic and set a timer for 1 or 2 minutes. Speak as quickly as you can on the topic without stopping or hesitating. This technique forces your brain to think quickly and helps you organize your thoughts in English, reducing hesitation and improving fluency over time. Another way to improve this is by practicing conversations with yourself. Whether you're describing your day, your plans, or your thoughts, try to speak in English without pausing. Even though you're talking to yourself, it helps train your brain to keep the words flowing. Now let's dive into the importance of confidence. A lot of learners feel like they're not speaking fluently because they're afraid of making mistakes. But here's the thing, confidence is key. Even native speakers make mistakes, but they keep talking without hesitation. To develop confidence, focus on building small wins. For example, set a goal to introduce yourself in English without stopping, or to talk about a simple topic for a few minutes. Celebrate these small victories, and over time, you'll feel more confident about your speaking ability. Remember, fluency isn't about perfection. It's about communication. Don't focus on saying everything perfectly. Instead, focus on being able to express your ideas clearly and confidently. When you stop worrying about making mistakes, you'll speak more naturally and with less hesitation. Let's also talk about practicing with real-life situations. While language apps, textbooks, and podcasts are all great for learning, the real fluency comes from applying what you've learned in actual conversations. Try to put yourself in real-world situations where you can speak English, whether it's ordering food at a restaurant, talking to a stranger, or discussing a movie with a friend. Don't be afraid to engage with people, even if they speak better English than you. It's in these real-life conversations that you'll learn the most. Make it a point to speak with people in English as often as possible. Remember, the more you practice in real situations, the more fluent you'll become. Listening practice continues to be a crucial part of fluency. Many people think that listening only helps with understanding, but it actually plays a significant role in speaking too. By listening to native speakers, you can pick up natural phrasing, intonation, and fluency patterns. To use this to your advantage, try active listening. Choose an English video or podcast, and after listening, repeat what the speaker says as closely as possible. This exercise will help you improve your fluency, pronunciation, and overall speaking ability. Also, Listening to different accents and dialects will make you more versatile in understanding and speaking English. One more strategy is to set specific, measurable goals for yourself. Fluency doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent practice and clear goals, you'll make steady progress. For example, you can set a goal to have a 10-minute conversation in English every day, or to learn 30 new words by the end of the month. The more you practice and track your progress, the more motivated you'll feel to keep improving. And remember, even on days when you feel like you're not improving, every minute of speaking and listening practice counts. Fluency is a journey, not a destination. To summarize the key steps to speaking fluent English, speak regularly. It's the most important habit to build fluency. Think in English to reduce translation time and speak faster. Use active listening to improve pronunciation and fluency. Practice pronunciation and intonation to sound more natural. Learn collocations and phrases to speak more like a native speaker. Build confidence by celebrating small wins. Set specific, achievable goals for consistent progress. Your challenge for this week is to speak for 10 minutes every day on any topic that excites you. Don't worry about making mistakes, just focus on expressing yourself clearly and confidently. And don't forget to track your progress so you can see just how much you've improved. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you feel inspired and ready to start speaking more fluently. In the next episode, we'll talk about advanced techniques to take your fluency even further, so stay tuned. Until then, keep speaking, keep practicing, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. Welcome back to part 3 of our podcast on the secret to speaking fluent English. By now we've covered the foundations of fluency, how speaking regularly, thinking in English, and using active listening techniques are essential for fluency. But in this part, we're going to dive into some advanced strategies that will make a big difference in your progress, as well as how to stay motivated and keep pushing your speaking skills even further. Let's get started. Let's talk about immersive learning, one of the most powerful techniques for mastering any language. Immersion means surrounding yourself with English in as many ways as possible, so you're constantly practicing. You can immerse yourself in English by watching movies, listening to music, reading books, and even interacting with people who speak English. But it's not just about passive exposure. Active immersion is key. For example, after watching a TV show or movie, pause and describe what just happened in English. Retell the story using your own words. This active engagement helps reinforce the language and improves your ability to recall words and phrases. You can also practice shadowing, repeating after the speaker during immersive activities to improve fluency, rhythm, and pronunciation. Next up, speak with a purpose. The secret to speaking fluently is not just about talking, but about talking with intention. Every time you speak, ask yourself, what do I want to get out of this conversation? This can be a small goal, like practicing a new phrase or learning how to express your opinion on a specific topic. When you speak with purpose, your brain is actively engaged, and you'll make faster progress. For example, if you want to practice describing something in English, choose an object, a place, or a situation, and try to describe it in as much detail as possible. You could say, I'm going to describe my favorite restaurant. It's a cozy place with dim lighting, and the walls are decorated with paintings. By practicing these purposeful descriptions, you'll increase your ability to use a wide range of vocabulary and sentence structures. Another advanced strategy is learning the art of storytelling. Storytelling is a powerful tool for improving fluency because it encourages you to think quickly, recall vocabulary, and express yourself in a coherent way. When you tell a story in English, whether it's about a past experience or something imaginary, you have to organize your thoughts and present them clearly. To practice storytelling, Start with simple stories, like recounting what you did today or describing a memorable event. As you build confidence, challenge yourself to tell more complex stories. You can also add details, emotions, and opinions to make your storytelling more engaging and natural. The more you practice, the better you'll become at speaking spontaneously and fluently. Let's shift gears and talk about listening to different accents. As you get better at speaking English, you'll start encountering a variety of accents: British, American, Australian, and many more. At first, it might feel challenging to understand different accents, but exposure is the key. Start by listening to podcasts, movies, or interviews with speakers from different parts of the world. The more you expose yourself to various accents, the more comfortable you'll become with understanding different pronunciations and speaking naturally. You can also try to mimic different accents during practice, which will improve your ability to understand and speak English with more flexibility. Another game-changing strategy is language exchanges. Engaging in language exchanges with native speakers or advanced learners is one of the best ways to improve your speaking skills. Language exchanges give you the chance to practice speaking in real-world situations, receive immediate feedback, and learn about cultural nuances in language. You can find language exchange partners through apps like Tandem, Hello Talk, or even social media groups. If possible, find someone whose English is at the level you want to reach. Practicing with someone who challenges you will push your fluency and boost your confidence. If you find yourself getting frustrated or plateauing in your speaking progress, it's a good idea to break things down into manageable steps. One of the biggest barriers to fluency is trying to master everything at once. Instead, break down your practice into specific areas of focus. For example, dedicate 1 week to improving your pronunciation and another week to learning new vocabulary for specific topics like travel or work. Focusing on one skill at a time will help you feel more in control and make it easier to see your progress. At this point in your fluency journey, feedback is key. Get feedback from native speakers, teachers, or language exchange partners. Feedback helps you identify areas where you're improving and areas that need attention. It also gives you insight into how others perceive your English, which can be incredibly useful for refining your speaking skills. Ask your conversation partners to correct your mistakes, give you tips, or point out areas where you could sound more natural. This kind of constructive feedback accelerates your learning process and boosts your confidence as you hear about your improvements. Lastly, let's talk about staying motivated. Fluency is a long-term goal, and sometimes it's easy to feel discouraged. But the truth is, fluency comes from consistent effort over time. One of the best ways to stay motivated is by celebrating your progress, no matter how small. Keep track of your milestones. Maybe you had your first 10-minute conversation in English, or you understood a podcast without subtitles. Celebrate these wins. Set short-term goals like having a conversation every day, learning 50 new words, or completing a speaking challenge. When you achieve these goals, it will feel like a big win and push you to continue practicing. So to wrap up part 3, here are the advanced strategies we covered to help you speak English fluently. Immerse yourself in English. Practice active listening and speaking with real content. Speak with purpose and set clear goals for each conversation. Practice storytelling to improve your speaking structure and fluency. Expose yourself to different accents to improve your understanding and speaking flexibility. Engage in language exchanges with native speakers or advanced learners. Break your learning into steps and focus on mastering one skill at a time. Seek feedback regularly to improve and refine your speaking. Celebrate your progress to stay motivated and keep moving forward. Your challenge for this week is to engage in at least 3 language exchanges or have a conversation in English for 10 minutes every day. Focus on specific goals for each conversation. like practicing new vocabulary or improving pronunciation. The more you practice, the closer you'll get to fluency. Thank you for tuning in to part 3 of The Secret to Speaking Fluent English. I hope these strategies have inspired you to keep practicing and improving. In the next episode, we'll dive into how to maintain and improve your fluency over the long term, so stay tuned. Until then, keep speaking, keep challenging yourself, and most importantly, enjoy the process.